Welcome to Five Things. This is your host with the most, Zamoni, aka Gang Boss. And today we're talking about things that, we've been seeing trending online and things that we see, when we open our phones. And that's about Black lives. And not only Black lives, we're talking about our Black females in society too, the empowerment of Black females and how important it is to society. And today on the show, we have educator, mom, author, everything in a whole package of what a Black woman's supposed to be. And I'm not just talking like that because I know this individual, but it's reality. So today, we're taking a flight to the UK, we're taking a flight to London, and I'm going to introduce to y'all Ms.Cocolondon.
Hey Zam. So Ms.Cocolondon here, self-published author of a London lass, educator, coach, cousin, everything. So yeah, I'm really excited to be speaking today. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, it's been too long. It's been too long. And yeah, I said I'm doing this, and I have to have you on my podcast. Yeah. So this is Five Things where we speak about different topics, but to each guest that I have on the show, I pick one specific topic, and we speak about 5 points on those topics. So I have a question, and I call my question like thing one or thing two. So here we go. Thing one. What is it like being a Black educator in the UK? And I ask this question because I know what it's like, me just being Black, traveling through the UK and experiences I had in the UK. So you being an educator and they trust you enough to educate the Caucasian kids. I would like to know like what it's like if you had to go through certain procedures, or like what's the vibe?
So I think first of all, I'm a Londoner, so I'm not just British, I'm a Londoner, and with that comes the privilege of living, I think it's the privilege of living in a multicultural society. So in terms of seeing, Black children, Black educators, Black everything, although we're underrepresented, it still doesn't feel unusual for being in London. I'm boring, yeah. I'm not boring, but I'm boring. I've done a plain sailing route in terms of education and my career, and I think although it's worked for me and these are decisions I've made for me, I feel like I get a pass because I went to one of the best universities, not just in the country but in the world. So when I have to introduce myself, or somebody has to introduce me, they're like, oh, here's Miss Coco, here's Chantel, she went to London Economics. And so there's a part of me that's brought into the system in which I live in, which makes it, I think, a lot easier for me, and I accept that as a privilege. I think, like, as an educator, that's easy, and a lot of the schools I've taught in are not actually predominantly white. My first school was 80% Bengali, so children from Bangladesh.
Okay.
But I think what stands out to me most in being an educator is quite the reverse. Not the idea that you pointed out that I'm trusted to teach white children, but more how I think about the purpose that the education system serves for our Black children, especially parents. And I'm a social scientist, so looking at the fact that some people would argue education is just about control of the masses, it's about suppressing creativity, it's about fitting boxes. I've worked in some schools that are hardcore on discipline and hardcore on achievement, which, yes, by right, cool, that's what you go to school for. But what we do find is that sometimes, statistically, our Black boys worse with that. So, like, all of the statistics that go against Black people, whether it be the fact that they're overrepresented in prisons, stops and that starts from in school. The exclusion rate, as in young Black boys being kicked out from school, is higher than the group. And so I think about what education looks like for our children in my context. And, you know, this year in particular with Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
you've got educators rallying around looking at, you know, how Black is our curriculum because it's very Eurocentric. We learn about the Tudors and World War II, but when it comes to Black history, we're only learning about slavery.
You don't get
And
that.
so there's a conversation around what are we teaching our kids even. But even
question,
with the best,
1 second.
Go on.
Sorry for you, right? But you think that's the school fault, or you think that's the parents or like where they're growing up fault? You think it's our responsibility to teach our kids our history, or you think it's the school responsibility to teach them their history?
I think it's both, to be honest. And I think as a parent, you know, the first color that my son learned was black, gold, and green. Yeah. So my other islands, but for conversation's sake, you know, we keen on making sure that he knew who he was and where he came in all sense of the way, good and bad. But that said, you know, I live in the UK, I accept myself as a Brit, and to be honest, who else is going to teach me about the Magna Carta and King Henry VIII? Because my mum doesn't know it and she doesn't care for it. Actually, white history is important in understanding the context in which we exist and how our system came to be. So I don't think it should be one way or the other. I think both parties have a responsibility to teach both.
Yeah, I think the same also. And I have a question, like, okay, great points, but the question, yeah, not only being black, yeah, I want to know, like, how are you treated and looked upon, like, in the schools, like being a female? Because you know how it is, like, sometimes when a lot of male, like if something is quote unquote dominated by males, and I'm not saying education is dominated by males, but if a school is dominated by males, like a male principal, a male vice principal, how are you looked at? Like, you get treated with the same respect, or they're like, she's being or you understand?
This is the thing. The education system is female dominated in the UK. Heavily female dominated. So in terms of my role as a woman, it's quite natural that I'm going to be in an environment as a strong female leading, whether it's a class or leading a team, because that's the way it is. So the by way of being a woman, that, and I, like, my first school was an all boys school, an all boys in an Asian community, and there were times where I felt that, because as boys they are put on a pedestal in their culture, and in a lot of their communities are seen as secondary, and they have a role and a place to maintain. And sometimes some of the boys would try that, but generally, as a professional in my professional space, gender factor at all.
Okay, well, that's good, and that's very good for you, which brings me to thing 3, right? And as I say, we're having a conversation, so you can always put me in my place and put me in check, right?
Which I always will.
Why is it so important? Why is it so important? For instance, like when a female gets a high position, right? It's such a parade around it.
Because we're defying the odds. Although I've just said, like, my field is overrepresented. We
but
know
in general,
that women are not. Generally, women have not been the dominant force historically, right? We've, for whatever reason, I don't know, because you know I stand by the fact behind every strong man is an even stronger woman. Period. Your life. Period. We are benefiting. Nobody argues. Women run the world. Nobody argues. Yeah. I said no argue.
I was just going to bring a point. I'm going to say, when I look at female strength, right? Me personally, when I look at female strength, of course there are like physically strong females, but the the fact that female have the brain power, right, and the composure to multitask. You multitask better than a man. You juggle having a kid at home, going to work, cooking, doing all kind of things. You give a man, and we're talking from average, right? Of course, there are some men that can do it, but if you're speaking from average, right, we're just not capable of that. We can focus on one thing, like if we want to be the president, we can focus on that, and then a female will be behind him say, yes babe, you can do that, do it like that, da 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 da. So when I look at female strength, I look at it from that aspect. You understand what I'm saying? Because you have to be friggin' awesome.
And I think that's why it's celebrated. It's celebrated because, first of all, more time than most, you're doing something that has never been done or is very rarely done. So even in the last 20 years, we're still seeing first black female doing that. The second thing is, unfortunately, sometimes there is a sort of compromise where you have to make a choice whether you're leaning into the things that you want to pursue or whether you're doing the things that you need to do, which are defined by your role, for example, as a wife, as a mother. And the moment you're professional, you are dividing your time. Like, I have to be all things to all men. The project management that I undertake in my home, managing 3 children and a man, and the generally and myself, is absolutely ridiculous. Before 8 o'clock in the morning, if you knew the things that happened in my house to then know work and still comes looking fly and still manages shit, sorry for my French, but it ain't easy being a woman.
Yo, I don't know how you'll do it. I saw my mom, you know. I was raised with my mom, right? And I saw my mom take care of me because my dad wasn't there. So I saw my mom, provide, send me school, deal with me through puberty, still manage herself, still manage the twins, still manage her husband. And I'm like, yo, that's Superman in real life. Like in real life. And she does that thing. Maybe when she goes to sleep, she like say, I'm tired. But in the day, I never seen this woman complain. I never seen she said, I'm tired. Nothing. And I'm like, yo, I think like moms deserve a Grammy because I don't know how you'll do it. A dad, we put on the TV, you watch TV, we're gonna fix up something quick. The house stay how it is sometimes. We pick a day and clean it up. You know the vibe. That's how it is. That's how it is. It's crazy. So as I say, I give females credit where credit due, right? And let's be
say the term superwoman is not one that I care to own. I'm not superwoman, I'm just woman, because number one of the problems of being defined as a superwoman, whether it's by yourself consciously, unconsciously, or by others, is that you run the risk of people still putting shit on your shoulders because it's like, you can cope, but you can cope. And also the plight of the strong black woman is that she don't take time to rest. The argument is, oh, but you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this. And I think, one of the things, or maybe not one, but one of the things that allow me to do what I do in the way that I do it is, one, the support network that I have around me in terms of my partner and my family and people being able to help. And then two, I'm very honest with being like, if I can't, I can't. That's it. Yeah, it is. I do what I can, and by most of the time, a lot gets done. But if I can't, I can't, and that's that. And lastly, I was going to say, the other thing is to not fight against your role. So when you're saying, oh, your mum, you know, she never complains. This morning, I've cleaned the whole house, and I've cleaned it with the music on, dancing, smiling. Yeah,
but there have people that complain. I see it. I see people that say, I see people that treat like parenting like it's a task, like it's a job, like they think it's I seen it. That's why I say, like, when I see females and when I see my mom never complain, you understand, and never argue about like what it's like to be a mom, it's hats off, because honestly, there are people that really, you know, like they almost want to strangle the child.
Sometimes I need that, but I'm too pretty to go to jail. So.
Yo,
Hard to jail.
yo, it gets frustrating at times. It gets frustrating at times, but hey, we're only humans, right? And you know, we're speaking about that. We're speaking about Black. We're speaking about women. We're speaking about parenting. And to me, like sometimes, like me being in the entertainment business, right? I think like melanin is not celebrated enough. Is not celebrated enough, because sometimes entertainers, right, think that we need a lighter skinned person in our videos as the main role. Like it would just look good. They think like it will just go viral, right? And me personally, I think like despite the two, like I did 2 soca videos with white people in there, but my reason was introducing my culture into Europe, right? That was my intent, right? And I got a bit backlash for it. I got like my backlash for it, but at the end of the day, the majority understood what I was doing. But I'm saying like, how you feel about entertainers not putting enough melanin queens in the forefront? Like, what's your take on that with the entertainment business? You being like a Nubian queen as yourself.
No, you know, because I think even when Black people, we are the force behind the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel on that. I don't know why everything has to be a fight. I don't know why we're still fighting in this day and age.
I don't understand it, but
though we are,
I just think
you
that
know, I don't understand.
I just think the people no problem. I just think the people that controls the media and control what goes out, they create that stigma that there's always a debate on something. You understand what I'm saying? But
we're getting better at doing our own. We're getting better at becoming independent, using the resources that are available to us, and seeing a sense of possible idea now of have to knock on somebody's door and wait for them to give you that opportunity. That started with the means of social media, with the means of generational wealth and more passive incomes and more streams of income. We are using our creative intermediate talent you have, but in and to support independent business, whether it's in industry, entertainment, or anything else, because it's so important that we start to carve our own way, because we have the means to now.
Which brings me,
or more than.
And since we're on that, right? Which brings me into you stepped into the writing world, right? Being an author and stuff, right? Thing 4. What pushed you in that field? Why you thought it was necessary to enter that field? Why writing? Why not something else? Like, why you wanted to deal with it that way?
I've always loved writing. I ignored it for a long time. I did well at it at school, and then I was really stable in my career. I'd worked, I'd studied a degree, a master's, a PhD, all the things that go with it. And my thing was, I'm now at a place to work, show up, do an excellent job, and go. So I was like, I need to something this for myself, because we as people are multi-dimensional, we're multi-layered. Like, just because you studied one thing or you've done one thing, life is so long, you don't have to commit to that. So it started off as a passion project, as in I'm just gonna go and do something for myself, but also I imagine, just like any artist, you know, when you're writing a song, you're taking time out in the studio, the vibes are kicking, your mind works in a totally different way in terms of expressing. So I took the time to write. Okay, why am I playing small? Make this a book, and I know a book is quite big and aspirational to say, because it's a whole. Who am I? Who am I not to write a book? So for my people, so they could cheer me on and keep me motivated and hold me accountable. And it took me 3 years to write. I ain't mad at that, because the other thing that motivated me was that I want on my terms. So I self-published a book. I didn't want anyone to tell me this is what a book should look like, this is what it should sound like, this lines it should have, this so many words it should have. Again, just like music, this is your creative baby, this is what you felt from your heart at that time. So I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and then I don't know, I woke up one day in May and was like, this book wasn't a COVID thing, it wasn't a 2020 thing, because I had no idea at the beginning of this year that the book would be finished. But I woke up sometime in May and I was like, you've been doing this for long enough, get to a point. And I started editing, and then, see, do I know anyone that's written a book? But not people who don't have the people and they've been planning for a long time. Me, I was like, I want my book out in 6 weeks. So I headed over to Google. I was like, how to self-publish a book? The luxury of the things that are available at our fingertips. I learned how to self-publish within 2 hours.
Wow.
Followed videos, use the platforms available. So this time round I published using Amazon. I don't know if I'd do that again. There's no problems with Amazon, but in terms of your growth and keeping your income for what you do, I'd publish again. But I'm grateful for it, because it meant that I literally lifted the book from Word, I typed it in Word, to Amazon publishing process, and I'm really proud of it. Look what it is. It's also about writing on love, and I think there are loads of conversations in my book. When I say love, I ain't talking about, oh yes, we met on the day and he went and put me off. Nah. When I was like, love is traumatic, existent and non-existent. I wrote about not having them, not wanting them, losing them. I wrote about domestic violence, about relationships that we have with our mother. I wrote about affairs. I wrote about, you know, things that go on in our mind. And I think often there is, I think there is an idea around what it means to be Black and in love. And our culture, unfortunately, and not, I don't think by our choice, but I'm not going to go there in terms of the history, it's known to be fragmented. We come from a line of broken relationships where, you know, for family, you know, mum, dad, 2 children, a dog and a car isn't necessarily existent. And whilst it wasn't very lovey-dovey, I think it was important to bring to light some of the conversations that you can have on love that are not had, to change that narrative, to let other people know that, you know what, it's not just you that feels that way, but we can get on the other side of it. And I think it's really interesting when you read the book, because there's a lot of voices in there that are not necessarily my own. And again, I'll say I'm relatively boring. I'm someone who's been in a long-term relationship. I've been with my partner for nearly 20 years. Jeez. Even that, as an idea. Listen, look at my face, fresh, yeah?
I was just going to say, it don't crack. It don't crack.
So for love is potentially one that you don't even hear of very much in today's day and age, but it exists. But I can also choose all the other versions of love that I learn and see and hear from my mothers, my aunties, my sisters, my grandmothers, my friends. Many reasons why the book and doing my own thing was important, not just for me, but to share for other people. Because me, I'm an ordinary girl, you know. Who am I?
Not to me. Which
you know,
oh no, which bring me, I happy you said that, which bring me to thing 5, right? Why you think what you consider as ordinary, you consider everybody ordinary. Like there are people that when they think they're a celebrity, they think they're higher than high, right? And I like that you said that you're an ordinary girl. Like define that for me, please.
Listen, I come from humble beginnings. Very, very humble beginnings. There's no silver spoon in my mouth. In fact, you know, I don't have the complete opposite end, but I was born to in a single parent household. I grew up in one of the poorest boroughs in the country. Yeah. So there is nothing about where I come from. I went to ordinary state school and I worked extremely hard for any of the achievements I've gained while my mother worked 2 or 3 jobs. There's nothing luxury in the come up to who I am. But what I know is, and what I know because I know for myself and for what I see from my family, the women that's come before me, even you yourself, is impossible. Whatever you want, you put it out there, you shall receive. If you see the right steps that you like, you know, the questions you asked me before in terms of being black and being a teacher, being a woman and being a professional, as I'm concerned, I give thanks to my mum, to my grandma for instilling the level of confidence that I have. I have my moments, I'm not all, but what I do know is I believe in myself. And when I say I want something, first of all, you tell me why not. And when you tell me why not, I ain't even listening. I'm taking it as advice to answer your question. You know, there's nothing that I can say that I do that gives me a head start amongst anybody else. When you say how do you do it, I don't know. I know that some days, some weeks, some months, I wake up at 5 a.m. every day because I need to wake up those extra hours before I see to my household. I know some days, some weeks, some months, I'm absolutely burnt out and I'm miserable and nothing happens. I know some days, some weeks, I have to ask for help. I know some days, some weeks, I indulge in being a mum and it's like, I don't care. I just want to cook, clean, look after my them and look after my man. Some days, all of it happens all together. I don't have any nannies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I get you.
I got home help and my parents are young. So there's no grandparents. They're working.
Yeah, you know your mother out there.
They're at the party. Like,
yeah, man.
She ain't playing.
Facts.
So there's nothing. When I say I guess what I mean is, and many other people could say this, whoever you are, whether you're Beyonce, Michelle Obama, me or you, I work hard for what I want.
Exactly. And
that's it.
For me, I just want to say, I just want to say, like, before we run off, like, you motivate me a lot because you know my struggles. You understand? I used to sleep on your sofa and thing in the starting of my career. You understand what I'm saying? And we speak a lot.
More, it's all right.
Nah, we speak a lot.
London, though.
But it's like it's growth. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. But I'm not ashamed to say. Do you understand? You house me and stuff when I came to the UK, and just like how I see you level up, and I'm happy to see you level up. I'm not going to put your business out there, but I know you level up, and it pushes me. You understand? It drives me. That dude, you can do that, and you level up, I level up, and we level up together. You understand? So I just want to say here, like, yo, thanks. Like, you motivate me. I look up to you. You know.
You.
Beg your pardon?
I said I'm trying to be like you.
Nah. Little letter, nah.
You know the circle. Why did you got the right people in your circle?
Yeah. Facts. So yeah, man. Sorry about the technical difficulties with the internet cutting in and out, but you know that's how it goes sometimes. That's how it goes sometimes. But yo, it's a pleasure having you here. Thanks for all the gems. Thanks for supporting my little podcast thingy. And I'm gonna put all your handles.
A little podcast.
It's the baddest thing in YouTube. It's the hypest thing in YouTube.
No. Yes.
Yo, Shanti, yo, thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me your time. Sorry. Yeah, me. Thanks for having me. I'm so custom.
The Dutch.
Yeah. This has been 5 things. All the gems. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend that yo, Zamoni have the latest podcast in the nation. I'm out. Gang thing.